Shall we have breakfast together?
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Fiki Anjani. I will explain about types of qualitative research. The first is qualitative taxonomies. Different authors have produced various taxonomies for qualitative research. Craswell described 5 approaches: narrative research, phenomenology, grounded theory, ethnography, and case study. Okay, next, basic qualitative studies. Basic qualitative studies, also called basic interpretative studies by some, provide rich descriptive account target to understanding a phenomena, a process, or a particular point of view from the perspective others involved. The central purpose of these studies is to understand the world or the experience of others. The underlying question the researcher is asking is, how are even the process and activities perceived by participants? These studies are the most common qualitative studies and are used in a variety of disciplines, including education. They may use a variety of data collection techniques, including interview and observation, as well as review documents. And they may draw from diverse theoretical orientation. So, the basic goal of the interpretative studies is to understand the meaning people make of their experience. That people create their own meanings as they interact with the world around them. Example with using interview is researcher interview students of various high school grade levels about their experience in the classroom to try and understand their perception on instructional design. Okay, next, case studies. A case studies focus on a single unit to produce an in-depth description that is rich and holistic. The underlying question is, what are the characteristics of this particular entity, phenomenon, person, or setting? Case study provides an in-depth description of a single unit. The unit can be an individual, a group, a seat, a class, a policy, a program, a process, an institution, or a community. Case studies can answer descriptive question, what happened, or attempt to explain why something happened by looking at a process. They are particularistic, focus on a particular phenomenon, situation, or event. Descriptive, providing us an end result, a thick-rich description. And heuristic, focus on providing new insight. The greatest advantage of a case study is the possibility of depth. It seeks to understand the whole case in the totality of the environment, not only the present action of an individual, but also his or her past environment, emotion, and thought can be probed. There are 3 types of case study have been described. The first is the altruistic case study is conducted to understand a particular case that may be unusual, unique, or different in some way. The second, an instrumental case study. The researchers select the case because it represents some other issue under investigation. The third, the multiple of collective case study use several cases selected to further understand and investigate a phenomenon, population, or general condition. Okay, next, content or document analysis. Content analysis is widely used in education. The following are some of the purposes of content analysis in educational research. The first, to identify bias, prejudice, or propaganda in textbook. The second, to analyze types of error in the student writings. The third, to describe pre-filing practice. 4. To discover the level of difficulty of material in textbooks or other publication. 5. To discover the relative importance of or interest in certain topic. The purpose of the analysis was to determine if this book presented stereotypical or gender dependent role behaviors to children through the character in their text and picture. The presence of the observer doesn't influence what is being observed. You do not need to enlist the cooperation of subject or get permission to do the study. Another advantage of content analysis is that they are easily replicated. Okay, next, ethnographic studies. Ethnographic is the in-depth study of a naturally occurring behavior within a culture or intersocial group. Ethnographers typically describe, analyze, and interpret culture over time using observation and fieldwork as the primary data collecting strategies. Ethnographic studies consider where people are situated and how they go about daily activities as well as cultural beliefs. Ethnographic research has advantage and disadvantage. The main advantage is its observation of behavior in a real-life setting. The assumption being that human behavior can be fully understood only by knowing the setting in which it occurs. The main limitation is that the findings depend heavily on the particular researcher's observation and interpretation of the data. Okay, next, grounded theory studies. Grounded theory has its roots in sociology, and its goal is to inductively build theory about practice or phenomenon using interview and observation as the primary data collection tools. Grounded theory studies of a sociological nature have focused on victims of Alzheimer's disease and how families accommodate to the different stage, drug addiction in women, chronic illness, alcoholism, eating disorders, pain management, how families make decisions about placing member in a nursing home, and so on. A grounded theory study in educational might focus on mainstreaming, mentoring new teachers, integrating minorities in private prep school, classroom discipline, and many other topics. Okay, next, Historical studies. Historical studies are oriented to the past rather than to the present, and this use different data collection methods from those used in other qualitative approach. Historical research is included in qualitative research because of its emphasis on interpretation and its use of non-numeric data. Historical research is the attempt to establish fact and arrive at conclusion concerning the past. Primary and secondary source. Primary source are original document, correspondence, diaries, reports, and etc. Relic, remains, and artifact. Secondary source are history books, articles in encyclopedias, and review of research. Next, narrative research. Narrative research has its roots in different humanities disciplines and focus on stories, spoken or written, told by individuals about their lives. Narrative research provides account of human experience by collecting and analyzing stories about lives. Narrative research involved from diverse disciplines in the humanities, such as literature, art, and film, as well as from disciplines such as psychology and sociology. Narrative research has been claimed to be the best qualitative approach for capturing detailed stories of life experience of either single individual or small groups. Phenomenological research. A phenomenological study is designed to describe and interpret an experience by determine the meaning of the experience as perceived by the people who have participated in it. Phenomenology addresses questions about common human experience. Phenomenology is not the same of phenomenography, although the difference or difficulty to gossip for novice researchers. Phenomenology is rooted in a philosophical method and involves to the understanding of the essence of the phenomenon, whereas phenomenography has distinct empirical orientation focused on investigating the experience of others and their subsequent perception of the phenomenon and their reflection of the phenomenon. Once again, there is other types of qualitative research. The first is portraiture. Portraiture is a form of qualitative research that seeks to join science and art in an attempt to describe complex human experience within an organizational culture. The goal of portraiture is to paint a vivid portrait or story that reflects meaning from the perspective of both the participant and the researchers. The second, critical research. Critical research seeks to empower change through examining and critique assumption. Question focus on relationship and the influence of race, class, and gender. I think enough. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.